So here I have drawn out the long run aggregate supply, short run aggregate supply, aggregate demand graph. And on the y-axis, I have the price level, and on the x-axis, I have the real GDP. This is the graph that I've had to use the most in my studies. Now, first I want to talk about the real GDP. It is important that this is real GDP because it adjusts for inflation, unlike the nominal GDP, which, because it adjusts for inflation, shows the actual output over time. And then let's talk about the short run aggregate supply curve. It slopes upward, and then the aggregate demand curve slopes downward. So if you have a higher price level, of course people are not going to want to buy things with a higher price level. Now if the price level is lower, then there'll be more demand. The short run aggregate supply curve slopes upward because as businesses increase their output, they are increasing their prices of production, which increases prices overall. The long run aggregate supply curve shows the full employment level, the full output level, and this is what the economy is at. And so here, you can see that it is at equilibrium. So the price level is at equilibrium and the output is at equilibrium. Now, what happens when the short run aggregate supply shifts or the aggregate demand curve shifts? Well, first, let's say that aggregate demand increases. So it's going to shift this way. So as it increases, as you can see, price level will rise. And look at that, we have a new equilibrium. Now, this new equilibrium is not actually the equilibrium because, as you can see, it is not aligning with the full employment level. So, how does this fix itself? Will it go back to the full employment level, the full output level? Well, yes. An economy self-corrects itself over time. And in order to make it self-correct more quickly, the government a lot of times steps in to make this happen. So right now, we are in an inflationary gap. And so how will this go back to the LRAS line? Well, short run aggregate supply is going to shift and cause it to go back. So why does this happen? Well, as aggregate demand increases, these businesses will have more demand put onto them, and they're not going to be able to supply as much as they were. So their supply is going to decrease, which will shift the short run aggregate supply curve to the left. So now the economy is back on the LRAS line, but the price level has increased substantially. Now, I bet you're wondering, does the LRAS line move? Now, this is how the LRAS line would shift to the right. So we're going to have the aggregate demand increase, and then we're also going to have the short run aggregate supply increase. And since both of these increased, we have a new equilibrium, and that is going to shift the LRAS line to the right.